Being hella smart is hella easy. Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Cognitive Entrepreneur. Things are going incredibly well. Just to give you a little bit of an update, I am still on the ham and onions diet. Like I said, it's increased brain fluidity. It's increased cognitive interpretation. It's done wonders for me, this ham and onions diet. The only issue that I've had with it is that I've had colossal stomach cramps. That is one issue with it. So I've cut the onions out of the diet, and so now it is a strictly ham diet. I'm eating strictly ham. You know, while I enjoy ham, it's a bit limiting. You can't consolidate the fact that the mental fluidity is happening with this strictly ham diet. I feel stronger every day. I feel like I could like rip down a door. In fact, I have. I've ripped down a couple doors over this past week because of this ham diet. Because of how strong I feel. Yes, my emotions are sort of, I would say, a little out of whack. But, you know, that's the price to pay for the pure ham diet. So I can't recommend it more. I definitely recommend just eating ham for every single meal. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to become a well-rounded entrepreneur. Now, a lot of these young bucks, they come into the game, they say, okay, I am just going to strictly focus on business. I'm going to launch my startup. That's a huge mistake. You need to become a well-rounded individual, what I call a fat brain. You're probably thinking, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't need to learn anything. I don't need school. I agree. I think all education is a disaster. I think it's a colossal disaster in this country. And frankly, I think we should abolish schools. That's a whole different topic. Now, there's a way you can learn everything you want, and it's called the internet. It is a complete game changer. The great thing about the internet is that anybody can post anything they want. So, you know, you can get information from sources that aren't these stodgy academic types. Now, you'll notice I'm in front of this bookcase here in this house that I'm living in. It's a gigantic house. I mean, I haven't given you a tour of it, but you got to trust me when I say it's I'm living in a gigantic house. Wow, I mean, I'm looking at a view of the ocean over there. I highly recommend that you purchase a gigantic house. It's great because you can have a bunch of space. So I recommend you just buy a huge house and fill it with bookcases. Eating strictly ham, it's a game changer. What essentially I'm getting at though is you don't want tunnel vision. You want to be what they would call a Renaissance person, someone who's cognizant in all of these different types of studies, different arts. A lot of people don't know this. To become an expert in something, it only takes about a day. Everybody says, oh yeah, the 10,000 hour rule, you know, you got to really buckle down and study all this stuff. What a joke. It only takes about a day. I would say about 10 hours of perusing the internet in order to be able to become an expert. And in order for you to be able to have an opinion on something and begin shouting at people who have a differing opinion on this subject. A huge issue with today, people have too much information. People know all these details and all these facts. Come on, like let's get real here. All it takes is just a macro understanding of these subjects. Forget about the micro. Nobody wants to listen to micro. Nobody wants to hear all these crazy details and statistics. That's a snooze fest. It's important just to know the big words, and that's something I'll get into is using big words. Now, the thing with understanding a myriad of subjects, what's great about that is that you can tie them in to your entrepreneurship. A couple years back, I remember I was dealing with a class action lawsuit involved with one of my companies. I remember specifically in the meeting, the lawyer On the other side, it was like, these are extremely serious accusations that are being made. What do you have to say about this? I started talking about coral reefs. The lawyer there is like, well, what the hell are you talking about? These are serious accusations that have been made. Why are you talking about, the Australian reefs? I continued on that subject for about an hour. And finally, the lawyer said, this is outrageous. We're going to cut this short, and, that's a win. So we're going to tackle some of these ideas. Now, just to give you sort of a rundown on some of the interests that I enjoy outside of being an entrepreneur, one of the main ones I'm really into, I'm into books. I'm into reading. You might not know this about me, but I'm extremely religious. One of my favorite books is definitely the Bible. I love just being able to throw some of that Old Testament out. If you're bringing out the Old Testament in the middle of a class action lawsuit, it frightens people. And that is crucial. I'm going to give you a rundown on some of the books I enjoy. First, what I'm going to tackle here, we're going to tackle a book. It doesn't need to be a bunch of pages. For example, I consider even a magazine to be a book. I'll just whip one out here. I would consider this a book. It's got the pages, it's got words. That's all that matters. The great thing about magazines is that it's short. I'll be honest with you, I get bored when I'm reading a book. I think we can all relate to the fact that books get boring around page 3. And when you hit page 3, you're like, oh my God, this is slow, and I am tired of this. So that's why I think it's incredibly important that this next generation reads magazines, because ultimately it gives you the same information that a book does, but it's a lot more fun. Again, macro concepts. You don't need to dig into the details with a magazine. What I like about magazines is that the pages are shiny. The words are big. There's pictures. That's what I like. I like a lot of pictures. I'm a picture guy. What can I say? I enjoy a good picture. I honestly think more books, more novels in today's climate should have more pictures in them. For example, I had an associate that recommended I read this book called A Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius. It was written about 10 years ago. Started reading it. First thing that came to my head, man, where are the pictures? There's got to be way more pictures in this for it to keep my attention. I threw the book out the window. I went outside, picked up this book I threw out the window, and set it on fire. I was that furious. We need less sentences. We need less information in order to be able to form an opinion. This is true of every generation. We can grasp big concepts with less sentences. I believe that in about 20 years, a person will be able to become an expert in a subject just through about 5 sentences. In the future, books will be about a page. And I think that is a beautiful future. The ultimate goal is just to be able to do it through pictures alone. Generation Z, they don't want words. Trust me, every single generation. Baby boomers, they were readers. Look what they delivered to us. Look at what the baby boomers gave to us. And they loved words. Generation X, they didn't like words as much. I mean, they kind of liked words. There are some novelists, but whatever. But they did a lot more than the baby boomers. Millennials, we hate words. And man, we are changing the world every single day for the better. The world just keeps getting extremely better every single day because of millennials and our hatred of words. Generation Z, I don't think they're even going to be reading words. They're just going to be posting videos through their phone. And I think that is a beautiful dream for the future, is just pure videos, pure pictures, no words. That is the dream. I believe that for example, presidential candidates, when they run for office, instead of these long-winded, autobiographies that are so boring, they just release a picture book. Those are the books I enjoy the most. Just ones with a lot of pictures in them. I think everybody can relate to this. Less words, more pictures. There are cases when I enjoy actual books with words in them. Talking Straight by Lee Iacocca. He's a titan of the automotive industry. He completely reinvented cars. What I like so much about this book is the cover. You look at this man, and the way he's standing there proud, a grin on his face, a twinkle in his eye. I am immediately in awe of this man because of the way he is standing and smirking at the camera. It's a book. Honestly, probably haven't gotten past page 7 in it. To get me past page 7, you have to be compelling. Hats off to Lee Iacocca for his contribution to the literary world. Another great book, Beating the Street by Peter Lynch. Financial guy. Honestly, probably didn't make it past page 5 in this one, but still, get me to page 5. You are a wordsmith. Again, this man in a suit, same smirk, same hand placement. These two gentlemen. My goal is ultimately to release a book in the same fashion, smirking at the camera, wearing a suit, hand up like this, all pictures. All pictures. So yeah, essentially what I'm saying is when I say I love reading books, it really means that I enjoy looking at pictures. Another subject that I'm interested in and that I find blows people away is both quantum mechanics and space. Those are two subjects that most people don't know anything about, and that I have done a cursory research on, and I feel like I'm an expert at. For example, I was at a gala opening, and I was having a conversation with somebody, and I said, yeah, I'm an expert on space. And they were like, oh yeah, what the hell do you know about space? And so I looked them in the eyes, and I said, space, you have no idea how big space is. It's huge. Imagine the biggest thing you can think of, multiply it by 1,000,000. I bet you can't do that. How dare you even think that you have an idea of how large space is? That is how I like to talk about space with people. All it took was a cursory exploration of space on the internet. Wikipedia. Wow. You can get so much information off Wikipedia. I just read the first paragraph of the Wikipedia article. Again, macro concepts. Micro concepts, that's everything below the first paragraph. All you need to do is read the very first paragraph. Another concept, quantum mechanics. Even the word is even those two words, quantum and mechanics. I'll just use the word even if it doesn't even make any sense. At that same lawsuit, that class action lawsuit I was involved in a couple years back, I said, your arguing points are completely quantum mechanical. They didn't understand what I was saying when I meant that. That's the point. Coral reefs and quantum mechanics. You wouldn't expect to bring that up in a class action lawsuit, but it confused them. No, I did not win this class action lawsuit, but I think on a cognitive level, I definitely won. Honestly, I don't even know what quantum mechanics is. I mean, I looked at the Wikipedia page with that one, and that was a deep dive. I was not ready to exactly swim that deep that day. I read the first sentence, and that was enough for me. I honestly just like using the words quantum mechanics. But again, who's to say these experts know what quantum mechanics is? Yes, they've studied it for their professional careers. But again, this goes back to my point. Experts don't know. The experts, they're just making it up as much as I do. You can know as much as the experts by reading about a sentence. And that's how I approach life. If I were to ever meet someone who was an expert in quantum mechanics, I would look at them as a peer, even though I didn't completely understand the first sentence of the quantum mechanics Wikipedia page. Now, sometimes with these subjects, you can go way out in left field. For example, a subject that I really enjoy is dolphins. I find them very entertaining. I enjoy watching them at SeaWorld. I go to SeaWorld about once a week to enjoy the dolphins, to watch the dolphins play around and bounce the balls around in the tanks. I have paintings of dolphins. I enjoy looking at the paintings of dolphins. They're an interesting animal, and I enjoy watching them do tricks. Dolphins, did you know this? A dolphin can tell the difference between two humans. I think that is a mind-blowing fact because there is no way I could tell the difference between two dolphins. I mean, I love dolphins, but they all look the same to me. They almost got a leg up on us. That's crazy to think. I hate to bring up this class action lawsuit again, but I definitely talked about dolphins during this class action lawsuit. Man, that was a great trial. I talked about dolphins, I talked about coral reefs, and I talked about quantum mechanics to a lawyer, to a judge. If you're doing that at a trial, you're doing something right. They should have did that during the OJ trial. I mean, if Johnny Cochran had walked up with the glove and started talking about dolphins and quantum mechanics, I think that, they won, but that would have been a slam dunk in that trial. So essentially what I'm saying is that I really like dolphins and I enjoy SeaWorld. Another thing you might not know about me, I'm a painter. And I tell this to everybody I know. I tell them that I'm a painter. I'm an entrepreneur/painter. Great thing about painting, doesn't take any effort. To become an expert at painting, it takes about 5 minutes. You grab a bucket, maybe grab 3 different paints, buy a canvas, start throwing the paint around. Congratulations, you're an expert painter. You're a genius painter. That is all you need to do in order to become one of the greatest painters of your generation, is just to fling paint around on a canvas. So in conclusion here, it is so easy. It is so easy to become a genius. It is easier now than ever. And I would argue that, 99% of people are geniuses. They just don't know how to look at a Wikipedia page correctly. Read the first few sentences. You'll be good. Because 99% of the time, you are the smartest person in the room. That is how you should approach life. Don't worry about the micro details, macro concepts, macro brain.